Hello and welcome to the first tutorial we have here for Autodesk Inventor Professional 2025. We are specifically tailoring the videos for my students here at Cedar Falls Schools, but I think people will find this as a general tutorial very helpful anyways. And beyond that, I'm using, like I said, Inventor 2025, but I've found that a lot of the things, even in 24, 2023, probably even later versions of it, there's a lot of overlap. Maybe the icons change and the colors change here and there, but the functionality remains very, very similar. So if you find yourself looking at this tutorial and you do not have the latest version here of 25, please do not feel as though this won't be helpful. As we get started, this video, again, this is just our introductory video. We will have specific ones for creating parts, creating assemblies, drawings, and so forth. But this one here is just getting you started. So imagine we just got started. We clicked double clicked on the icon on your desktop, the eye icon, the kind of orangish yellow icon there. It'll probably bring you to a home screen similar to this. It may look a little bit different. Obviously, yours won't have my recent files. But any files that you have opened and worked on recently will show up, which I found very, very helpful. Rather than having to go back and find them and reopen them from their locations, you can just click on them there. As you can see also, we are in my classroom. We are going to be designing our own fidget spinners. So you can see those files are located there. But again, there's a lot to this. This is industrial grade software, if you will. Industry standard, they call that. And what you'll find is that most of the content of this is probably not applicable for your 8th or 9th graders, even through high school. There's a lot of the commands up here in the ribbon that you will not need or use, but in the industry they do. So as you get started, the best thing to do is to create or determine what you're going to begin creating. So I guess let's talk about real quick the vocab. So I'm going to be, you already heard me say this once. This is the ribbon up here. The ribbon is the set of icons along the larger strip of commands. There's the taskbar and some other icons up here, but the large icons, we call that our ribbon. The ribbon changes as you change tabs, so there's not a whole lot in the tools and collaborate, but notice as I change my tab, the ribbon changes icons. You'll see more of those when we get into parts and things. But yeah, as we get started, when you open it up, you have recent options here. What we have here, though, is this is actually our workspace. So you can actually create projects. Think of it, it's a little bit different than working in like a cloud space and saving things to a cloud. This here, you actually have to save things to some sort of a physical device, whether it's your computer, whether it's a flash drive or dump drive, whatever you want to call it. You do need to save things to a space. So for us, we're not worried about other kinds of projects. They have, like I said, industrial version here. We've got other types of projects. We leave that as our default. If you want to open a file, you can do that right here if you already have, again, files existing. But when we go to start our very first project, we want to start with, I'll open this up. We want to start with a part. So think of this, again, I'm trying to make some comparisons. Think about like Google Drive. Drive has different file types. You have slides or presentations. You have docs. You have spreadsheet files. So there's different file types within Google Drive. There are different file types here within Inventor. So going along that same line, what we always have to start with is a part. In order to create some big monstrous project, it is comprised of multiple individual parts. So think of it also like a jigsaw puzzle. The jigsaw puzzle is created with a whole bunch of individual pieces that are then assembled together to make a picture. For us, that looks like opening a part file. Then from the part, as you make multiple files that are the multiple pieces, you then go into a standard assembly file, right? And then your assembly file, you drop all of the pieces that you made, all the parts that you made, into this file. You assemble them together, and once you're done, you're ready to ask somebody to make it. You actually go in and you create a drawing. Again, I know we're getting a little bit lengthy in describing all of the stuff that is Inventor, but this again is something that industrial or industry companies use on a daily basis. So this is not just your everyday Microsoft Paint or something very simple. It is very complex. So trying to hit everything in one quick video, you'll probably have to watch it 2 or 3 times if you really need to understand how Inventor works here. But again, as you create stuff, you want to make things in Inventor, you start with a whole bunch of individual parts. You then open an assembly file and drop the parts into that, and then you assemble them together. It'll make sense when we have our Inventor assembly for our fidget spinner. So, for example, I'm going to, you know what, I'll just show you real quick, I got time. We've got our fidget spinner frame. So this is, notice the icon was the blue icon. This is a part that I created. I also created, I'll use the open command, our centerpiece. And I had our centerpiece number 2. So notice my tabs down below. These are the individual parts. So I took the time to open individual parts. So I opened, there we go. I opened a new part I created using all these commands in the ribbon. I opened that and I made the frame. I opened a new part, such as this. New part, bam, I created the piece, another piece. Okay, so I'm ready. I have my 3 individual pieces that I want to come together. So what I do is I then go into my standard assembly. I create a new file. Notice my ribbon changed. I have different commands here. When I go to do this, and I'm going to go into way more detail later, but just to show you how things work at a high level, in an assembly file, I look for other parts. So I'm going to drop a part like my frame, and I can drop more than one of those if I needed it. I'm going to place a centerpiece 1, and I'm going to place centerpiece 2. And what's neat about this is, so now in my assembly, I have all of the things I need to make this. So my individual parts, I can't add the centerpieces to a part file. I can only add it to an assembly file. But once I do that, I can constrain it. And again, please don't feel like you're needing to follow all of these things. To do that, I meant to do that to the center one. But you can see that I'm assembling these things together in a way that should kind of make sense. But there you go. I'm going to ground this here. So you can see that in my assembly now, I would have a bearing, of course, in an actual fidget spinner, but the pieces we are printing, I can take the parts that I made and I can assemble them. So there's an example of a part where I just have one individual piece, another individual piece, another individual piece. I then go to my assembly file and I place all of those parts into this file and I assemble them using commands. So later on, all the details of how that works, but that is basically how we are going to create our fidget spinner for this introductory project.